Hi, I'm Dave Showalter, Colorado-based conservation photographer and author of the new book, Living River, The Promise of the Mighty Colorado. And today we're heading to the Headwaters region of the Colorado River, where the whole journey of the 1,450-mile-long river begins. Welcome to Berthoud Pass, the dividing point between the Platte Basin watershed and the Colorado River watershed. We're at 11,307 feet up here, which is roughly timberline in Colorado, in the alpine zone. Behind me, in your view, is the Fraser River watershed and the Headwaters region of the Colorado River. So it's March 30th. And we expect peak snowpack, which is all of this snow that's piled up around us, to be around April 1st. This is all the water we have for the coming season to last us until this time next year. On the other side of the mountains, we came up over Berthoud Pass. On the other side is the Platte Basin watershed, and this is all Colorado River watershed. So I'm standing on top of Second Creek. We've got so much snowpack this year that there's a little snow bridge here. We can literally stand on the creek. And it's wonderful that we have a good snowpack year this year in Colorado. What is snowpack? Snowpack is the accumulated amount of snow that gathered over the winter months starting last fall. Typically peaks, we get the maximum amount around April 1st. And that's when everybody looks to the mountains to ask the question, how much water are we going to have for the coming year? On the Platte Basin side, on the other side of the mountains, that snowpack will run that way. On this side, it's going to run to Second Creek and to Fraser River and onto the Colorado River. This is all in the headwaters of the Colorado. When you go to the Grand Canyon, or when you go to Mexico, or when you go to Bears Ears, this is all the same river. I'm driving past Winter Park ski area right now, and the diversions that meet up with the Moffett Tunnel down here below. All this water that gets diverted to Denver gets collected at Winter Park ski area. You can see this is another way that snowpack is used, is for recreation. Folks are having a wonderful day of spring skiing up on the hill today. But this place really brings to life the idea of just how our water is used and where it goes and how easily it can be diverted. And the water will get collected here. It'll get sent through a big pipe, through a tunnel, 6+ miles through the Rocky Mountains, come out the other side, join South Boulder Creek, and then power Denver's economy and water golf courses and lawns and the whole bit. And this is a really great starting point to not only see where our water comes from in terms of snowpack, but just how easily it can get pushed in different directions and pushed outside of the Colorado River watershed in a trans-mountain diversion, which is a big assault on the river. It's a long-standing deal. It's since, I think, 1908 it's been getting diverted here. But it presents major, major challenges to downstream users the amount of water that gets sent outside of the watershed of the Colorado. Standing here on the Fraser thinking about what makes a healthy river. And in this case, the Fraser is heavily diverted, it's compromised, it's not pristine, but it's spectacular. And here we have a partially reworked, restored section of river or reach of river with healthy willow, a dredged channel to keep fish cooler and keep the channel cooler. And it gets a lot of fishing pressure, but this is a functioning ecosystem. And I think it's important to consider that although some places aren't pristine, they can still be a functioning, healthy ecosystem that supports life. And it's a really important point to make, I think, that wherever there is flowing water, wherever rivers flow, there is abundant dynamic life, and that matters. And in the river channel are rocks. The river channel is full of rocks, and those rocks have gaps in them. And if you have a flood regime in the springtime, it flushes the sediment out between those rocks. And what results is then you have a healthy aquatic insect population in the river channel. And then you have other species that depend on those bugs, those aquatic insects like sculpin. And there's sculpin, which are small little fish that also live in those interstitial gaps between the cobble in the river channel. So a lot of the elements are here for a very healthy river system with the woody vegetation and a dredged channel and somewhat of a flood regime, although it doesn't last very long before much of the river gets diverted. Still, it's a functioning river system, and that matters. It's an extraordinary place. So where is there hope in the Colorado River watershed? There's hope in the characters that we've highlighted in the book. There's hope in restoration that's going on at Seedskiddy National Wildlife Refuge to restore the willow and cottonwood. On the San Pedro River, where we're infiltrating groundwater to raise the water table for birds and other wildlife. On the Gila River, where a dam was stopped and the Gila is now a free-flowing river, continues to be a free-flowing river in southwest New Mexico, and a number of other places throughout the West. So there's hope in the actions of regular folks who have taken ownership of their part of the river, of their part of the watershed. And I think for each of us as individuals, there's a way of thinking about this that is, we're not individuals, we are part of a community of 40 million people. We're all watershed neighbors, and we need to row together a little bit. And part of that is reimagining the possibilities for our rivers, the possibilities for water in the West. And we can't do things the way we've always done them. There's less water in the system. In spite of this good 2022 and 2023 season of good snowpack, that isn't going to make us whole. That's not going to fill our reservoirs. It's going to give us a little bit of temporary relief. We have to acknowledge that there's less water in the system, therefore cuts are coming. We're going to be asked to take cuts in the amount of water we use, whether we're in agriculture, whether we're homeowners, whether we're cities. We're going to have to adjust and recalibrate to the river we have. But beyond those individuals that are doing great work, each of us has some responsibility, right? If we're going to take these cuts and acknowledge the situation and that we're part of a community of 40 million people, what does that mean in our own lives? Well, beyond reimagining, we're going to have to change our relationship to water in the American West. And all of that starts with asking the question, where does my water come from? And then we need to go there, whether vicariously or, better yet, to go there and to go to that place in the Rocky Mountains where our water comes from and get a sense of just what is our place in this watershed. We need to go to the river and just breathe. And what I've tried to do with this story is bring the river itself to life, because I felt all along that no one's going to care about stories about a dying river or about bathtub rings around reservoirs. People will care when they go to the river and feel the abundance of life and rhythm and dynamic energy wherever the river flows.